Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to today's HDI webinar, How Make-A-Wish Delivers Seamless Remote Support in a Connected World. Today's webinar is brought to you by LogMeIn Rescue. I'm Roy Atkinson, and I'll be your moderator today. We have just a few announcements before we begin. If you're experiencing any technical issues, please refresh your browser. You can participate in a Q&A session by asking questions at any time during this webcast, and they'll be answered during the Q&A session toward the end of the webcast. As always, you can stay in touch with HDI on Twitter at ThinkHDI, and you can join HDI chat every Friday on Twitter at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. And you can participate just by jumping on Twitter and following the hashtag HDI chat. We're also on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and HDI members have access to lots of information, including community conversations at HDI Connect at connect.thinkhdi.com. The slides will advance automatically throughout the event, and the webinar will be available on demand shortly after the completion of this live webcast, and you'll receive an email reminder to let you know that it's available. Today's featured speakers are Renee Dodson and Peter Zanoon. Renee Dodson is currently a Relationship Manager at Centralized Technology Services Department at Make-A-Wish America, where she's responsible for guiding Make-A-Wish chapters through the migration and implementation of the CTS program. Renee joined Make-A-Wish in 2013, first as a coordinator in corporate alliances and later as a coordinator for national sponsor in-kind programs before transitioning to CTS. She has more than 10 years of experience in process development, implementation, and improvement, budgeting, bookkeeping, and office management. And Peter Zanoon has been with us before on previous webinars. He's the Director of Products for LogMeIn Rescue, part of LogMeIn's Connected Products and Customers business unit. He's responsible for shaping the vision, product strategy, messaging, and overall direction of the Rescue brand, which focuses on providing technicians with an elegant, reliable, cloud-based application for delivering world-class customer service and remote support. Prior to LogMeIn, Peter managed and designed various enterprise-level e-discovery products for Recomind Inc. He has a BA in Computer Science and an MBA from Boston College, as well as a Master's in Information Systems Management from Carnegie Mellon University. And in his free time, which apparently he doesn't have much of, Peter enjoys playing golf, traveling, and chasing his toddler daughter around the house. Well, thank you very much, and take it away, Peter.
Thanks, Roy. Yeah, you're right. With running around and chasing a toddler, as well as my work schedule, don't have too much free time, and my golf game is suffering for it. Today we're going to talk about a few things. First, I'm going to introduce you to who LogMeIn is, for those of you who don't know. Then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the new world that we're living in right now of IT and IT management, and some new challenges that really are coming up because of this new world. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how customers that we have and people like you have found a way to resolve some of these challenges and really navigate these choppy waters. And we'll go into an example when I'll hand it on over to Renee, and she'll talk to you about how they're addressing some of the challenges, how they're facing this new world, and really trying to thrive in this challenging landscape. But first, let me introduce you to who LogMeIn is. For those of you who don't know, we are a global public company with revenues north of $330 million. We are a market leader in identity, collaboration, customer engagement, and support technologies, and we're a market visionary in the IoT. We have worldwide operations with over 1,000 employees in 9 global offices, and we're one of the few SaaS companies out there that sees annual 20% growth in revenue, EBITDA, and free cash flow. With over 50 million active users and nearly 1 million paying customers, we're trusted by some of the largest and most recognizable brands out there. These include companies like Symantec, Vodafone, DHL, Best Buy, etc., all household brands that you guys know. And really, we provide services and technology for them in a variety of different ways. Through our three main areas of focus, we provide technologies that allow you to engage and support your customers in a variety of different ways, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we progress. Through our collaboration products that many of you probably have used in one way, shape, or form in the past, like JoinMe, and our identity line of business, which includes our products like our Central product, our Pro application, as well as our newly acquired application, LastPass. But let's jump on in. And I apologize for giving away the punchline for this slide a little early with some lack of animations, but I like to start from the beginning when we talk about technologies and the challenges that we're facing, and really that beginning is babies. When you look at the technology that children are growing up with right now, it really is fascinating. And like Roy mentioned before, I do have a young daughter at home who right now is extremely technologically sound, even at 2.5 years old. She is not able to pronounce the words very articulately or clearly, but we have a voice remote from Comcast that she now knows how to pick up and push the button to speak into. It just has no idea what she's saying. She also has a Amazon Kindle that she's able to unlock and load in any books or games that she has on it, as well as movies. And this is all at 2.5. If you look at how technology has been built and designed, it really has been with children in mind. Can we make it so simple that you inherently are able to pick it up and naturally understand how you can progress and how you can use this technology? And it's really seen a boom in the last 10 years. And these statistics are very fascinating that I have up on the screen. Every day there's about 350 children that are born per day. In that same day, there's about 500,000 iPhones that are sold and 1.5 million Android devices. What that means is that every day a baby is born, they're essentially handed 1.5 iPhones and 3 Android devices. And almost 5 Android devices. That's how connected we are in this world. And that's how technology has really become invasive in our lives. And along with this, there's been a lot of changes that have actually happened in the world, both from an industry perspective and from a customer expectations perspective. It's kind of a chicken or the egg situation, but when you hear them talk through, you understand, how things have come and how things have really adapted. The first thing is we've seen universal connectivity, and we've seen that grow rather exponentially. If you travel at any point in the last year or two, you know that you can almost be fully connected to the internet from the time you get onto a plane, through the air, almost anywhere you go in the world, if it's internationally over an ocean or if it's just intercontinental in the States, you have full capabilities and connectivity. If you're on JetBlue, you have that for free. If you have status with some other airlines, you have that for free as well. You almost can never find a way to disconnect. Right now, dead patches that we used to see back in the day when we would travel and talk on our cell phones, they're gone. There's universal connectivity, and we even have the capability of continuing phone conversations even when you don't have cell service. It connects via Wi-Fi. It connects via other technologies. And because of this universal connectivity, customers are able to almost to connect across multiple channels, devices, and different ways. Even just look at some of the communication technologies that have popped up in the last 3 years. You have things like Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, WeChat, WhatsApp. I'm sorry, I was blanking on the name of that technology for a second. But you have all these different communication methodologies that are out there, and it's really fascinating how we've simplified the way that people can connect with each other. From a standpoint of an environment that we live in and a technology environment, it's really difficult because customers almost expect that they're able to communicate with you in any different way. Whether you're supporting an internal help desk or an employee base, they're expecting to be able to communicate with you via email, phone, walking up to you, any sort of internal chat, or any different way. If you're a customer service representative, your customers are trying to connect you in a variety of different ways as well, like Twitter or Facebook or social media extensions beyond that. Skype, any other different ways. They're expecting that they can communicate with you in a variety, in any way, and that you will be able to support them, communicate with them, help them across any of those channels. The second thing is that with all the new technology and the new capabilities that are out there, the interactions and the complexities of the products have really started to increase dramatically. I read somewhere the other day that the heaviest component of the car, or of any car that's manufactured in 2016, has actually been the wiring more than anything else. We've simplified the way that the actual outer shells and the baseboards the frames of cars are so light, and we've also increased so much technology that's in the cars that wiring has become almost the heaviest component of the vehicle. And if you look at the phones that we have as well, even though the interactions on the actual interface has been so simple, it's really been boiled down to one touch screen and maybe a physical button or two, but the actual interactions between software and technology components inside of them, as well as, you know, the different programs that interact, it's really complex. There's almost 5 or 6 different radio bands that are inside of an individual phone, from Wi-Fi to cellular signals to LTE connections to FM dials to all these different gizmos and gadgets that are inside of them. That really, when you look at the customer expectation, we want everything to be simple and efficient to engage with. You can't have a customer getting or anybody start using your technology, and let's say if they're getting into a car and they're using a Spotify application to listen to music, and if they want to listen to it through their Bluetooth speakers in their car, you can't expect that every single time they're going to open the phone, reconnect to Bluetooth, re-sign into their Spotify application, search for the songs, and do everything. They want to be able to just turn their phone on, have it connect to Bluetooth, open the Spotify app, load up an automatic playlist that they have, and just click a button and have it go. We're expecting these complex technologies to just work. And finally, with all this technology, all this capability that's out there, there's almost unlimited options and unlimited information that's out there on the internet. I mean, just think about how much Google knows about you and how shocking that can be, but it also makes it easy for you because it has the capability of telling you, I know where you're going to go next for your next meeting. By the way, you have to drive to it, and traffic is starting to pick up. So even though you were anticipating having to leave at 1 o'clock for your meeting, you might actually have to start leaving at 12:45 so you get to your meeting on time. It's really shocking when that happens to you the first time, but it's really powerful with all that unlimited unlimited information that we have. The flip side of that is, with unlimited information, we have almost unlimited options. So as a customer, you want to have that experience happen when and how you want it. If you don't like how Google is collecting all of that data and sending it to you in different ways, shapes, or form, you can either A, turn it off, or B, switch to something else. The ability for customers to switch to other technologies is fantastic in this day and age. But it also poses a problem for companies that are trying to, acquire new customers or service employees. If you have these unlimited options, you either have to support or be ready for all of these unlimited options as well. It makes it very difficult for you to plan your IT infrastructure and to plan your help desk. So we live in this world that has unlimited connectivity, unlimited information, customers that are connected to each other in one way, shape, or form, cars and trucks that can communicate with either the home office or your home, watches that can connect to the internet and tell you how fast you're running, or whether it's time for you to just pause and take a deep breath, like my Apple Watch tells me every so often. We have all of these different technologies and capabilities. But with this great opportunity comes a lot of new challenges that are out there. And it's really fascinating because almost any day that you turn on your computer and read about new technology and new capabilities, if you're like me, you see that and go, okay, that's a new challenge that we're going to have to face and we're going to have to really address. And some of these challenges are larger and some of them are smaller. But what I want to do now is I want to go through a couple of those challenges and really talk about what new things we're facing in this day and age, and potential ways in how we might be able to try and work through them. So the first one, and this is really something that's posing a significant problem for IT help desks and IT support agents out there, is the rise of the mobile worker. This is becoming a much bigger situation than we anticipated even 5 to 6 years ago, because of some of the simple technology and the simple capabilities that are now ubiquitous around the world. This makes it easy for employees to actually start working wherever they want to. Mix this into the rise of millennials in the workplace, people who grew up with constant connectivity, constant capability of doing their job or doing their work. It makes it a very interesting problem to have. Sticking with millennials, they are the first generation that we are going to see that is going to be a significant generation in the workplace that also has grown up entirely with the internet. Despite everything that we've read about that generation, one thing that always sticks out to me is that they're one of the hardest working generations that's out there, meaning they don't typically understand a 9-to-5 job. They don't understand why you can't do work outside of the office, or why you have to be in the office to be working in general. So they can connect anywhere they want. They can be working until 11:30, midnight, sometimes even later, and they can start working at any point that they need to as well. An office to them is a mindset. It's not 4 walls, and that's something that's really starting to percolate throughout the workforce. And as you see from the chart up here, almost 75% of the workforce in 2020 will be mobile, will be on the road, or will be working from home, or will be actual remote workers in one way, shape, or form. That poses a significant challenge for the IT help desk to actually support these end users and make sure that they're getting the help that they need, getting onto the systems that they need, and getting the connectivity that they need so they can do their jobs anytime and anywhere. The other problem that we're starting to face right now is that interactions are really starting to become very disconnected. Whether you're using CRMs and knowledge bases internally and they don't communicate with each other, or you're a customer service desk and you have different ways that your customers can talk to you or communicate with you, all of the interactions just seem to be very disconnected. Whether it's a chat working on a pre-sale or an email coming in for service and support, as a help desk and as a support desk, you need to really find a way to get that 360 view of the customer, know the history of when they call in and when they contact you, and really understand when and how is the best way to service and support them. And finally, one thing that we're noticing a lot right now is that there is no single source of truth. And this is an overreaching statement, but really what it means is that there is no one system that everybody can use. Like we mentioned before, as booming technology took off in the late 2000s and early decade of the 2010s, a lot of new technology was being developed that was very niche, but solving 1 or 2 specific problems. You start buying new systems and buying new technology and buying new interfaces that can help with those specific problems. Eventually, you have a help desk or a support desk that has 10 to 12 to maybe even 30 different interfaces that you're interacting with and that you're connecting to. So as somebody that's providing support, you need to understand your CRM system, your ticketing system, your communication systems, your Outlook, how you log stuff into your knowledge base, et cetera, all before even just picking up the phone when a customer or an employee calls in for help and resolving any of their issues. That's 12 systems that somebody needs to learn to do their job before they can even learn how to do their job. That's clunky, and that's really problematic. Mix that with the churn issues that a lot of companies are having when it comes to agents, whether it's agents that churn out of the company or agents that become promoted because they're doing well and they need to lead the team. That poses a very significant problem. So when you look at the IT challenges that are faced right now by people like you, a survey that we ran with IDG a couple of months ago really showed that a significant majority, and 66% of respondents said that one of the biggest challenges that they have is new technology and new devices that they need to support. That's becoming a significant problem, and it grows year after year. Along with that, increasing end user expectations and growing costs associated with the infrastructure, as well as really end users that are very vocal about problems and the resolution time, those are all becoming very significant challenges that the IT desk is trying to support. At the end of the day, this new world that we're living in is pretty awesome, but it is pretty problematic when it comes to how to handle these types of situations. Like I mentioned before, it is very choppy waters, and it's a rough environment that we have to try and navigate through. What I want to do now is I want to hand it on over to Renee Dodson, who is going to talk a little bit about how Make-A-Wish has been able to actually try and address some of these issues, and really come out on top when they're navigating these challenges. Renee, I'll hand it on over to you.
Thank you, Peter. So my name is Renee Dodson, as you heard earlier, and I am a CTS Relationship Manager and Technical Support Specialist with Make-A-Wish America. If you don't know a lot about Make-A-Wish America, our mission is to grant the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions to enrich the human experience with hope, strength, and joy. A wish experience can be a game changer for a child with a life-threatening medical condition. This one belief is what guides us in everything we do here at Make-A-Wish. It inspires us to grant wishes that change the lives of the kids we serve. It compels us to be creative in exceeding the expectations of every wish kid and drives us to make our donated resources go as far as possible. Most of all, it's the founding principle of our vision to grant the wish of every eligible child. Now, Make-A-Wish began back in 1980 when a little boy named Chris, who was diagnosed with leukemia in 1977, wished to be a police officer. His wish was granted by members of the Arizona Department of Public Safety on April 29, 1980. A small group of individuals were so incredibly moved by this experience that they founded the Make-A-Wish Foundation in May of 1983. Now, in 2016, more than 270,000 children in the United States and its territories have benefited from the hope, strength, and joy of experiencing their one heartfelt wish. In fact, Make-A-Wish granted 14,800 wishes just last year. On average, that's about 35 wishes. That's on average, it's one wish every 35 minutes. So now that you know a little bit more about the history of Make-A-Wish, I'm going to go a little bit more into their structure. So Make-A-Wish is structured as a collection of 62 independently chartered nonprofit organizations. We call them chapters, each with its own board of directors, staff, volunteers that stand committed to our shared vision and mission. These chapters serve every community across the nation and its territories, and are really the force behind bringing our mission to life, meeting wish kids and their families, and really devoting a lot of their time and energy into making these wishes come true. The national office was incorporated in May of 1983 to oversee the numerous chapters that were beginning to surface across the country. Now, the national office, which is where I am here in Phoenix, is here to provide support and guidance to our chapters, including things like developing guidelines, raising funds, providing legal support, and developing and establishing the overall direction for the organization. As you can see in this chart, we have one national office located here in Phoenix, Arizona. We do have 62 chapters across the United States, roughly about 110 locations, with a little over 4,000 actual employees, and just over, as of last year, just over 25,000 volunteers across the country. Now, what this equates to is, since the national office is basically the hub for all things support for our chapters, that essentially means that 97% of the employees or people that we serve are remote employees. So, as you can see, that's a lot of people. We are a very small team. We are only a staff of 4 technical support specialists here at the national office, and managing our time is crucial in order to give everyone the same amount of attention and support. Some of the challenges that we've faced and are still facing are resources. So clearly we're only 4 people serving roughly anywhere between 2,500 and 4,000 employees on a regular basis. On top of the fact that we do have the time difference, so our help desk is only open for a certain period of time, but that's not always conducive for all of our chapters. And the different levels of technical knowledge, which is really where we tend to struggle the most, which is, we have a wide range of ages, technical skills, and needs across all of our chapters. And even here at the national office, we do support the almost 200 staff members here at our national office as well. And it is a wide range of technical skills that we deal with on a regular basis. Each of us on the team has, that one person or group that we know we'll talk to at least once a day. And it's typically about the same things most of the time. I know I have at least 4 that I can think of off the top of my head that I know I talk to on a pretty regular basis about, it could be anything from my computer's not recognizing my monitor, or my mouse won't work, and it could be the battery's dead in the mouse, or the mouse wasn't, it's a wireless mouse and the mouse wasn't turned on. So it is a wide range of people that work at the national office and in our chapters. The biggest thing that our chapters want from us is really it's an instant gratification view on the IT support team here. Our chapter staff are so used to being able to call or email, and one of us will immediately jump on the phone with them or immediately remote in and be able to fix their problem in the blink of an eye. And support has to be at their fingertips 24/7. So especially for our chapters who are working long nights, weekends, holidays, times that we're not really here. All of these concerns and more have driven us to develop a new program to help simplify the technology and eliminate the need for our support staff to learn 62 different ways of completing the same task. Now, the Centralized Technology Services Program strives to really leverage technology and information to improve efficiency of wish granting and fundraising, and really to improve the quality of the experience for our WISH children, donors, volunteers, employees, and our board members. All of these people use all of our technology at can use all of our technology at any given time. So we really need to make sure that they are the top of mind. The program really is intended to simplify and standardize the technology our chapters use and the support they receive. So currently, as it stands, we have about 12 chapters that have come onto this program, and you can see that we've really, by this graphic, you can see that we've really standardized the programs that our chapters are using and the technology that they're receiving from us. We do provide all of these services to them at a monthly cost. They do pay a monthly cost for these services to the national office. However, we are also giving them 24/7, 365-day technical support and protection. So we do have a third-party tech support firm that we use to increase the amount of immediate technical support to our users at the click of a button. So they can, if they're having any kind of technical issue with their computer, all they have to do is chat, email, or call this company, and they can have somebody on their computer in less than 5 minutes to solve an issue that we might take a day or at least several hours to get to, given the amount of tickets that we handle on a regular basis. It also provides network security and compliance. So our new network equipment, secured wireless networks, and our cloud-hosted domain are all things that the chapters benefit from when they come onto this program. We give them email, file sharing, and collaboration, individual Office 365 and GoToMeeting licenses for faster and easier collaboration within their chapter, as well as across all other chapters that are already on this program, as well as the national office. And that was really something that we worked to focus on very heavily, was the collaboration between not just the chapter to chapter, but the national office to the chapters. We really want to make that communication, the ways to communicate very simple. We provide voice and unified communication, so we do provide them new office phones, a national cloud-based phone system, and desktop application with an immense number of new features. So we're really ramping them up and giving our chapters the best foot forward when it comes to technology. Now, their current technology ranges anywhere from the most elite technology on the market right now to a lot of them don't even have printers in their office or actual physical phones. They'll use their cell phones, or they'll be using a personal laptop or a personal desktop computer instead of one that we've provided for them. So this program is really essential in giving our tech support team the right tools and knowledge to assist those chapters, especially the chapters that, or the users that are not as tech savvy as the rest of them. So with the implementation of our CTS program comes a simpler technological world for our chapters, as well as our support team. However, we need to support those chapters that still have not migrated onto this new program just as much, and for them it all really comes down to, if only you could really see what I was seeing, I'm sure you would know how to fix it in a heartbeat. The easiest way for us to do this without having any physical presence at their location is to connect to the user's computer remotely to see the issues for ourselves. That's really where LogMeIn comes to our rescue. So LogMeIn gives us that fly-on-the-wall view into the user's computer to determine the problem and develop a solution if one has not already been developed. Some of the ways that we use this on a regular basis, and I know I use this at least 20 to 30 times a day, is part of the support that we provide is installing and uninstalling software or drivers, running malware scans, setting up email. Really, that's one of the biggest things for our chapters is, or for our users, is that some of them, even just setting up email and Outlook is difficult or too complex. So really making that as simple as possible for us to remote in and give them the assistance they need. We do also use this program for our current migrations onto the CTS platform. So we are using LogMeIn to really bring those chapters onto that more simplified technology program. We also provide training through these. Through LogMeIn, we will remote into a user's computer and provide them training on something. If it's as simple as they are not sure how to open another user's calendar to see their free busy time, or finding their shared files, things like that. And really just ease of mind. A lot of times, it really just puts their mind at ease, just being acknowledged that the issue that they're having is not just them, or that there's a really simple way to fix it. With our chapters, a lot of times they don't have a lot of time to sit there and let someone take over their computer for 2 to 4 hours to determine the problem and find the solution. So this is really helpful for us to be able to remote in the back end of their computer and actually kind of run through their files or programs and see what's going on. And a lot of times we can determine the solution without actually launching the remote session. So this has been super, super helpful in allowing us to support not just the chapters that are on the CTS program, but especially those that aren't, because they are still using several different mechanisms to perform their daily tasks, and that can be really difficult for a lot of people. Now, as a final thought, I actually had the pleasure of seeing our keynote speaker at the Make-A-Wish annual conference earlier this year. His name is Joe Plumeri. He's very well known for his motivational speeches, and he asked us all a question that still lives with me to this day, and I'm sure I will remember it forever. But he asked, do you know what business you're in? And now my brain immediately went to, well, yeah, sure, I'm in technical support. I help people with their computers. And he stopped and he goes, no, you need to remember that at Make-A-Wish, you know, it's all about the kids. It's all about these wishes. You are in the business of hope. And he's right. The wish is only a moment in time, but the hope that it brings to the children and their families lasts lifetimes. Roy?
Sure. Hi, Renee. Peter, did you want to say some things about the products here?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, thank you, Renee, for sharing your thoughts. The Make-A-Wish use case is probably one of my favorite ones. Wrapping it up with what Renee just said, I mean, being able to help a company that has a hope in mind for their customers and delivers that product of hope is fantastic. And any little bit that we can do to help move that along and have people get back to granting wishes as opposed to fighting technology is always very useful. If you do want to learn about a little bit more about some of the connected products and customers' line of business for LogMeIn and LogMeIn Rescue, you can go to our website. But just to give a few words on what each one of the technologies is and does, we start with our Xively technology, which is our Internet of Things platform, allowing products to connect to each other and as well as really take the data that comes from these IoT connected products and display metrics and statistics in Salesforce as well as in other reporting technologies to allow you to manage your devices a little bit better. BoldChat is our omni-channel communications tool that allows you to really connect to customers in a variety of different ways and have your end agents be able to resolve problems, answer questions, and do really anything from an omni-channel perspective. And the technology we talked about today was Rescue. It's the #1 premium support tool in the marketplace right now, used by a variety of different customers to provide simple, seamless remote support to end users, whether on mobile devices, whether on PCs or on Macs. And recently launched last year, our Lens application allows you to seamlessly provide support for almost anything. And on that note, I'll hand it on back to Roy to see if we have any questions from the audience.
We do, and I would like to chime in there, Renee, and say thanks for your insights into what Make-A-Wish does. And as you mentioned, the best customer-focused organizations of any kind, charitable or otherwise, always have that customer, the ultimate customer, in your case, these children, in mind. So that's just a great message, and thanks for that. So we'll take a look at the questions and see what we've got. This is for Renee. Is LogMeIn Rescue used for your volunteers as well as your staff and board members?
So that's actually a great question. It is. We do support our volunteers and board members while they are using the Make-A-Wish products or services. So if they are logging into, we do have an intranet, a Make-A-Wish intranet, so we do use this to help them get onto the intranet and make sure that their logins are working and that their email is set up and minor things of that nature. Yes, we do.
Great, good, thank you. And this for Peter, I guess, are you able to integrate with existing ticketing systems?
Yeah, we have a variety of integrations with LogMeIn Rescue as well as BoldChat and Xively, but all products have open APIs and capabilities to build your own integration or utilize some of our out-of-the-box integrations with common CRM and ticketing systems like Zendesk, Salesforce, ServiceNow. Recently worked partnership with Heat Technologies, as well as a variety of others.
Okay, great. And one more for you, Peter. What are some features that allow you to support mobile workers? Renee mentioned, and you mentioned as well, how many mobile workers and remote workers there are. So maybe some features that allow you to support them.
Yeah, so we have a variety of different features. I mean, obviously the main one is the ability to remotely connect to any computer anywhere, whether that is connected to a hardwire connection or connected to a wireless connection. We can provide that support easily. We also have some of the most robust technology out there for supporting mobile devices, including Android and iOS devices. You can remotely support and view almost 88% of all Android devices that are out there in the marketplace through LogMeIn Rescue, as well as remotely connecting to apps and custom-built interfaces. And then finally, through our Rescue Lens technology, you're able to actually have a second set of eyes in front of the customer to see what they're seeing and provide support for almost anything, whether that's a printer or any peripheral that you need to provide support for. You can actually see that through the Rescue Lens application.
Great. And this is for Renee. Assuming the holidays are big fundraising time for the foundation, what's an example of how Rescue is used by Make-A-Wish at this time of year?
Well, that's a great question. And given that it definitely is our biggest fundraising season currently, the main program that our chapters as well as the national office use at this time is really a third-party fundraising platform, as well as our direct donations through Financial Edge. And Financial Edge is mainly supported by Blackbaud. They have their own support that they go to for Financial Edge and the rest of our Blackbaud suite. But the main part is really using LogMeIn to remote in when a chapter staff member or a national office staff member is getting any kind of error code that they don't recognize. So it's happened previously where they've received a donation or a notification on one of these platforms that is something to do with the hard drive of the computer, or we've had one that's telling them that the disk space, there's no more disk space on the computer to pull down their Excel files of donations or export items to their actual desktop. And this is these more simple items are what we would really use LogMeIn for during this time of year. The main actual support for those platforms is really done by those third-party companies, which is a big help to us that they provide. Most of them provide 24/7 support, if not at least the majority of the day support, as well as holidays. So for us, it's more focused on the actual computers themselves versus the additional third-party applications that our chapters use.
That's great, and I know it's a serious challenge. And some of the stats that Peter, that you quoted, and the fact that 97% of your employees are remote, 73. You said over 73%, Peter, would be mobile workers by 2020. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's an amazing challenge for every business, and especially one that is in your business, Renee, where it's a foundation and it's considered a charitable organization as well. So, are there any other questions out in the audience? Now is your chance to ask them. We'd love to hear from you. And let's see if there are any more. Give you a moment or two. Okay, great. Well, I'll start wrapping up here. We have reached the end of our webcast year here at HDI. This is our last one for 2016. We will be back on January 17th, 2017 with another webcast for you. And meanwhile, please have safe, healthy, and happy holidays. And we thank our sponsor, LogMeIn Rescue, today. Thanks to Renee for telling the story of Make-A-Wish so eloquently, and for Peter giving us all the good information about how that gets done through their products. This webcast is copyright 2016 by United Business Media, LLC. The presentation materials are owned by or copyrighted, if that's the case, by HDI, which is solely responsible for its content, and the individual speakers are solely responsible for their content and their opinions. And once again, we thank you for attending. Please rate this webinar. It very much helps us to plan for the future. Just take a moment before you leave. This webcast will be available on demand very shortly, and if you're a registered attendee, you'll receive an email to that effect. Thanks again for coming today.